The ruins of Harrenhal loomed under a dreary sky, where shadows snaked through the crumbling arches and over the singed stones. Sir Gale Rivers, the bastard of Dragonstone, stood among the wreckage, shivering from more than the cold gripping his bones. In his hand, a shard of Valyrian steel glimmered with a deadly promise. He remembered the prophecy, whispered like an illicit secret, a legacy hidden deep beneath the monstrosity of Harrenhal. His heart thudded in his chest, recalling his house's ruin 5 and 10 years past. This relic could restore his honor, but it caught the interest of darker forces. In the ghostly hallways, he had already glimpsed unfamiliar faces, watching, lurking. A scuffling sound interrupted his thoughts, a shadow slipping between collapsed pilasters. A woman's silhouette, cloaked in dusk, moved with a purpose. The exiled Dornish princess, once thought snuffed like a candle's flame, now kindled with vengeance. Sir Gale felt the pull of destiny, entangled in webs of past loyalties and new dangers. The path was fraught with omens, the faceless men from Bravos, crimson-cloaked priests with eyes like flames, and the heavy cloak of blood feud. The quest was upon him, set by unseen hands of fate. To seize the artifact meant risking everything, and perhaps losing all he held dear. Do you like this story? Hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Storytime. Sir Gale Rivers hesitated in the crumbling courtyard of Harrenhal, clutching the Valyrian shard with trembling hands. The weight of untouched history and the ghostly cries of the dead echoed around him, whispering fears that clung tighter than any cloak. What powers could this relic unleash, and what doom might fall upon those who wielded it? His heart was a battleground, torn between the specters of his past disgrace and the hope of redemption. He faltered Dragonstone, of the loyal kin fallen or scattered, and the distant throne that burned in his lineage like a half-remembered dream. The Dornish princess, who snarled with new life, beckoned him deeper into the bloodied web. Yet his mind was a tempest of doubts, plagued by the eyes of the faceless and the zeal of the red priests swirling around him. Then the sky wept. A bitter rain that drove abandoned omens into his bones. From beneath the ruins, the ground quaked, the air alive with ancient whispers, voices entwining with a singular promise of destiny unfulfilled, power lost and found. The princess's eyes caught his, fierce and resolute as the flame-born storm above them. There is no turning back. Her voice cut through this quandary, the catalyst he could neither deny nor reckon with. Fate was a pitiless hand at his back, and he leapt. The shadows at Harrenhal grew deeper as others emerged to join the quest, each with their own demons. First was Oswin the Whisper, a Braavosi merchant turned spy, whose tongue was as sharp as Valyrian steel and held secrets like a votary god's relics. His loyalties were a shifting tide, often for sale, but never cheaply. His presence made even the boldest uneasy, yet his knowledge was indispensable. Next was Yvette of Ashai, a red priestess whose eyes flickered like embers. She claimed visions sent by R'hllor himself, speaking of dragons and shadows, of light and flame. She was enigmatic, drawing confidence and distrust in equal measure, her motives as obscured as night behind clouds. Finally arrived Heliasand, the bastard of dawn. She wielded her blade with the grace of a dancer, a living testament to vengeance and unfulfilled oaths. Hardened by survival, her resolve was steel beneath a warm facade. Their mistrust crackled like dry tinder, yet necessity bound them, a fellowship forged in desperation. As Sir Gale observed them, the burden of his ancient find grew heavier, hope flickering amidst looming peril. Together, they were a maelstrom set against the coming storm, bound for the ruin or triumph of Westeros. The murk of Harrenhal bled into a path untrodden, where shadows sprawled like skinned giants across ancient mosaics lost to sight. Sir Gale Rivers led the way, the shard warming against his breast. Oswin the Whisper's murmurs were an undertow, unraveling secrets of stones and stars. binding their disparate fates in a dance macabre. Yvette of Ashai stepped lightly where others stumbled, her eyes distant, seeking portents only her god could reveal. Her incantations filled the air with unseen flame, as much for assurance as warning, her chants a tapestry woven between light and shadow. Helia Sand stalked beside Sir Gale, vigilance honed to a razor's edge. Her silent judgments whispered to him, questions unasked yet echoing. Was this quest folly wrapped in dreams of the past, or a path to their abhorred legacy's rebirth? Together they crossed into the bowels beneath Harrenhal. The air shimmered, heavy with the ghosts of dragonfire. Voices curled around them, fragments of a splintered doom entwined with promise. Destiny called them deeper into the abyss, where legends forged themselves anew. There, a power awaited, veiled in darkness, tempting their souls, a riddle of fate woven with the iron thread of history and vengeance. Together they crossed into the bowels beneath Harrenhal. The air shimmered, veiled in darkness, tempting their souls, a riddle of fate woven with the iron thread of history and vengeance. There, a power awaited, veiled in darkness, tempting their souls, a riddle of fate. In the suffocating darkness of Harrenhal's underbelly, the air shifted like the breath of forgotten gods. Gale felt each stone beneath his boots tremble, as if the castle itself was eager to reveal its secrets or devour them whole. Oswin's voice was a whispered map, cutting through the silence, with tales of hidden chambers lost to time. They twisted through the corridors, near phantoms in a world long abandoned by the living. Yvette glided at the edge of shadows, her murmurs igniting unseen fires that licked at the gloom, casting flickering visions that danced across damp walls. Her gaze, unfathomable and deep as the void, hinted at prophecies yet unspoken, her steps guided by forces beyond mortal ken. Helia's dagger hummed with the promise of swift retribution, her movements a symphony of lethal grace, eyes scanning for any flicker of motion, as if the castle's ghosts could manifest into foes of flesh and steel. Then, a chamber opened before them, its heart pulsing with ancient power, the artifact a twisted knot of stone and incantation. Power sang in its marrow, and Gale knew their trials had coalesced into this singular moment, a destiny tangled in the skeins of conquest and ruin. The chamber was vast, its walls etched with Valyrian glyphs that writhed and flickered in Yvette's firelight, casting serpent-like shadows. The artifact rested on an obsidian pedestal, pulsating with an eerie luminescence that seemed to draw the very air towards it, as if breathing. Sir Gale felt the pull, a magnetic force entwining his yearning for redemption with the whispers of forgotten power. He hesitated, recalling a vision seen in dreams, a land consumed by cinders, the cries of the damned echoing beneath dragon wings. "Beware," murmured Oswin, his eyes fixated on the artifact, suspicion nested in his mind. "It promises much, but demands more." Yvette's gaze moved from flame to relic, eyes glimmering with unseen tides. The Lord of Light has revealed no certain victory, only trials unending. Helia's hand closed over Gale's, grounding him in reality's harsh simplicity. "We walk a knife point, Sir Gale. Hold fast." The lights seemed to dim, a closing throat of shadows. And yet Gale reached, his hand trembling, daring to unlock the mysteries cradled within aged stone. In that moment, time unraveled, the air heavy with the weight of innumerable choices, every heartbeat an echo of history waiting to be rewritten. One, two, a closing throat of shadows. And yet, Gale reached, his hand trembling, daring to unlock the mysteries cradled within aged stone. In that moment, time unraveled, the air heavy with the weight of innumerable choices, every heartbeat an echo of history waiting to be rewritten. He set the damp and repulsor, grounding him in reality's harsh simplicity. And the light seemed to dim. The ruinous echoes of Harrenhal crescendoed as Gale's hand closed around the artifact. Power surged through him, a tempest of fire and shadow. The chamber shuddered, ancient glyphs igniting with a baleful glow. Visions cascaded, a tapestry of past and potential. Dragons soaring amidst broken crowns, a land untamed by fire. Yvette's voice wove through the chaos, a mantra threading light through shadowed fate. The ground trembled beneath their feet, the relic's power threatening to rend the very stone. Helia's blade sang into Gale's vision, a steely promise of reality. Oswin's caution whispered of betrayal, shadows of foes unseen. As the artifact pulsed with destiny's weight, Gale's heart answered, resolve forged in trials past. He could see the path unspooling before him, a tightrope across oblivion towards an eternal dawn. In this crucible of fate, Gale was reborn, no longer the disgraced knight, but a harbinger of untold change. His eyes met Helia's, Yvette's flame-lit orbs, Oswin's calculating gaze, a bond forged in desperate alliance. Together, they turned from the relic, destiny now a shared burden. Harrenhal's walls held its breath as they emerged, shadows of gods and men, still etched within the stone, prophecy unfolding. Emerging from the bowels of Harrenhal, the group stood beneath a starlit sky, the chill night air a stark contrast to the fiery tumult beneath. Gale Rivers felt the weight of the artifact now eased in his mind, a silent witness to the chain of events set in motion. The companions glanced among each other, a newfound respect uniting their disparate paths. Shadows lingered behind their eyes, but trust, fragile as glass, forged a new alliance. Yvette whispered a prayer, her gaze lingering on a horizon kissed by dawn's first light, an assurance of paths intertwined. Oswin, shadowed by secrets yet untold, weighed possibilities, his mind crafting strategies from whispers yet to be spoken. Helia Sand, her daggers sheathed, considered roads leading toward vengeance and legacy reborn. Together, they faced the world anew, changed by the abyss they conquered, aware of eyes watching from afar. Destiny had marked them, its intricate tapestry now woven with threads of redemption, betrayal, and a hint of greatness. The winds from the north carried tales of new tides. Westeros was a land ready to be reshaped by those who wielded unknown power. A journey thus ended, yet another whispered from the shadows, promising storms yet to come.